Welcome everyone to Totally Whiskey and Wine. I'm your host, Jason, and with me as always is James, our intermediate, and Zach, our industry professional. So today we are going to be reviewing a Caballo Loco release number 20. This is a red wine here that we're going to take a look at here and see what it's like. And before we begin, Zach, if you've got anything you want to tell us about this at all?
Yeah, so Caballo Loco is a Chilean red wine out of the Central Valley. This is multi-sub-AVA or sub-DOC within Chile, with grapes being sourced from all over. Maipo Valley in particular for the Cabernet Sauvignon, but there's Syrah, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Carmenere in here. So this is kind of like a best of everything wine coming out of Chile. Secondarily, release number 20. This particular vintner doesn't release every single year. They release when they feel their wine is ready. And so the number doesn't necessarily correspond with the vintage date, which is not present on the bottle. Assuming then that it's multi-vintage, as it's just a blended red wine according to the label.
All right.
70 to 180 bucks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, depending on where you get it. Market rate is 75.
Okay. All right. So how did we score this? Drum roll, please. 72. So we gave it a 72, but how did we come across that? Well, we rank everything in 4 categories: nose, mouthfeel, flavor, and finish. And what we'll do is we'll blind test it. Each of us are going to give our own score in each of the 4 categories, up to 25 points each, add it together to get up to 100. And then we add our 3 scores together, divide it out by 3 to get the average. So how do we feel about the nose? So let's start out with that. James, why don't you start us?
sure. I gave it a 19. That's a nice sweet, like berries, sweeter grape kind of variety. I also get like a little bit of like damp forest, maybe. Oh, the damp reminds me of like a damp forest kind of smell.
Okay.
So that's where I went with it. Yeah, 19.
All right.
So I gave it a nose of 17 with notes of just gamey red meat, leather, and red fruit. Kind of innocuous, this wine.
Yeah. I would agree. You say red fruit, I kind of got maybe a little cherry, kind of, a little bit of that. But, again, my palate and nose, I don't get as much as these guys. I give it an 18. So we're all kind of right in the same ballpark there with this.
It was pleasant.
Yeah, it was pleasant, but it wasn't spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll talk about mouthfeel.
Ooh.
So for mouthfeel, I'll go ahead and start us off. For typically, at least in my experience, typically reds are drier wines, but to me, this felt very wet for a drier kind of wine, and just how it felt in my mouth. I give it an 18 on this as well. I thought it was pleasant. It was okay, but it wasn't standing out.
Yeah. So I went ahead and also gave it a score of 18 on mouthfeel. Good broad acidity, relatively tame and low tannin in this wine, leading you to think that it's not super oaked or anything. Easy to drink, but not exceptional.
I gave it a 19. I felt right away, first thing I wrote down was medium dry. As I expected it to be a lot drier. It's not as I thought it was going to be. It's approachable. Yeah, medium dry.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's mouthfeel. So now let's talk about flavor. Zach, why don't you start us off with flavor?
All right, so this is actually my weakest regard for the entire thing. Gave it a score of 15 with notes of cherries, leather, and a general meaty taste. Honestly, this wine just feels like it's being pulled in multiple different directions for me. Like it's light and sweet and fruity, but it's also got savory, meaty, gamey notes. And then you have smoky leather on the backside, and it's doing all of these things at once. I just kind of wanted to pick a lane.
Okay, fair enough. I like how you said, kind of the fruitiness of it, because that's actually what I did get on flavor was kind of a fruity or berries flavor. And once again, I've been consistent this whole time. I gave it 18 again.
I did different. I kind of like what Zach didn't like. I gave it a 21. I called it sweet balance. So it was tending towards sweet flavors, but it bounced around enough to make me feel like there were other things going on. And I want to kind of experience, all right, this is a little bit of a savory note. This is a little bit more of like just other notes. Maybe I wouldn't call it like Zach's calling it what did you say?
Meaty.
Meaty, gamey. I don't know. This is something I'm not there in my tasting, but maybe balancing there, it hits those different things, which caught my wine curiosity.
Okay.
21.
All right. And why don't you continue on with finish?
Sure. Continue with a finish of 20, I gave it. And that's where I actually call it savory. I can't even get it. It's just a bit savory is what I wanted to call the word. It lasts there. It's definitely, I had to ask Zach because I don't understand when I feel it. The word for like acidity is my side cheeks dry last on my side cheeks was the acidity of it. Okay. So I'm now asking that question. I would say it's acidic, high acidic finish to it. So 20.
All right.
So I went ahead and gave it a score of 16. Just medium bodied finish. It's not doing anything crazy. It's like smoke resting in your mouth.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly didn't really have words to put to it. But the words you guys are using, a lot of those, when I think about it and how they apply, I do kind of like savory, that term. I think there was a little bit of that, but with the berries and that kind of flavor, I also got that little bit of sweet too. Again, for me, 18. It was pleasant. It was enjoyable. I would enjoy this, but I'm not going to go out of my way to grab a bottle if it's, if that price is up near that $180 price range. I'm probably not going to get it.
So if you're going to try and pair this with something, what's good pair?
Roasted lamb chops.
Roasted lamb.
Yep.
Yeah, you see, now you're doing this again. You're going to make me hungry.
Yeah, no, this needs food to accompany it, and it's not so big that I'd want to put up against beef. But roasted lamb chops and grilled vegetables, hell yeah.
Cool.
Now I'm getting hungry. All right, so that is the Caballo Loco release number 20. We gave it a 72, and whatever you're drinking, we hope you enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.